Hi, this is Rachel from QuirkyBaby, and my tweak of the week this week is about ring slings. Ring slings are actually probably my favorite carrier. They are super versatile when baby's a newborn. They are adjustable to fit the size of the newborn baby really well in a nice little pouch. And they're really easy to take off and put on, squish up and throw in a diaper bag. And especially when baby gets to that hip sitting age, they're an ideal hip carrier because they really give you that nice support from your shoulder down towards your hip this way with material that cups your shoulder versus some carriers that say they can do hip carries, but mostly the strap sits on your neck. So they're great for hip carries. My 3-year-old still likes to be held in a hip carry sometimes when we're out, so we pull out the trusty ring sling. The only disadvantage is it's a one-shouldered carrier, so it doesn't give you as much long-term support with heavier babies as a 2-shoulder carrier would give you, and back carries are not ideal in a ring sling. It's a very advanced carry, and you need certain kind of ring slings with a lot of width to be able to do those. So my tweak this week has to do with where the rings end up when you're wearing your ring sling. So when I help moms with ring slings, I often find that they're adjusting and the rings are ending up really, really low, or the rings are ending up fine, but the fabric rides on their neck. So it's up against their neck, and it's really pressing on this muscle, which can get quite tender between your neck and your shoulder blade. So what I like to do is start out with my ring sling. I like to place my rings a little bit higher than they're going to end up, and I make sure that the shoulder is off of my neck. I start out with it really on the ball of my shoulder. I'm going to grab baby. This is Sam, the demo doll. So what I like to teach mamas is to start out with those rings a little bit higher. Make sure the fabric is really on the ball of your shoulder. You're going to take baby, put him in a high burp position on your opposite shoulder. I like to put both feet through the fabric and sort of sit him in as if he's sitting on a swing. And then what I really like to do is take all of the slack from my back and pull it around. By getting all of that slack out, the rings actually don't have anywhere to go. If you have a lot of fabric in your back, when you start adjusting, the rings have lots of fabric there to move down. So I like to just grab all of that fabric without twisting it and bring it forward. And then from here, I take just that top piece of fabric, not too much, and pull up to ear level if Sam was a newborn. And then again, I'm going to make sure I don't have any slack. Pull all that extra fabric, make a nice little pocket for Sam, nice and deep. And my rings, they might be slipping a little bit off my shoulder, but I still want to keep them on the ball of my shoulder. And when I start adjusting, because I brought over all that extra slack, there's not a lot of slack and space for the rings to move downward. There it is. So I'm going to pull the top edge across, pull the bottom edge or the bottom rail down, and you can see my rings didn't go anywhere. They stayed in corsage position, and the shoulder stayed on the ball of my shoulder. It didn't start riding up my neck. So pulling around that slack before you start feeding the fabric through toward the rings really helps the rings stay in place. The only other thing is if you did find that they worked their way up to your neck and you have a ring sling that looks like this, what I like to tell people is to lift the baby's weight as you pull that shoulder where it's supposed to be. Because the way a ring sling works is that the rings lock in place and sort of hold the baby from the weight of the baby. So anything you want to do to move your shoulder around, if you just lift baby's weight a little bit and move that fabric, your shoulder should end up looking like this. Good luck!